Hello, everyone. I hope folks are doing well and that they are safe and healthy by the time that you get to watch this video. My name is Joél Orozco Almeida. I use he, him, his pronouns. And this year, I get to serve as the CoCEAL President, which is a tremendous honor for me. I'm also serving as the Associate Director for the Cesar Chavez Cultural Center at the University of Northern Colorado, which is where my full-time employment is happening. So this time of the year, the president, we get to send a welcome statement, if you will, as we are starting like a new term. And I've decided to do things a little bit differently. So instead of sharing the letter that I wrote in writing, I decided to do this recording video. And also I'd like to take the opportunity to do some announcements and just share some upcoming efforts that we will be doing. But yes, so for the first piece of this video, I will be actually reading to you all verbatim the statement or letter that I have provided. And then we'll go into some announcements. So here we go. As I was writing this statement, different thoughts came to my mind, coupled with mixed emotions. And with so much happening in the world right now, I'm still processing and making meaning of experiences and my role in multiple spaces. In the midst of all things, I feel humbled and honored for the opportunity to serve in collaboration with all of you as president. Muchísimas gracias for your commitment to CoCEAL, the Colorado Coalition for the Education Advancement of Latinx, as we continue to operate differently as an organization. Since the first time I attended my first CoCEAL membership meeting 5 years ago, the community space provided has been one where I have felt comfortable to be my full authentic self. As a documented queer immigrant from Mexico, and as someone who to this day, everything English language related is a struggle for me, the comunidad CoCEAL has provided for me all these years is one of the reasons why I continue to be engaged in this organization. Needless to say, comunidad is a value that is important for me to maintain as part of the overall experience of the membership. In these times of uncertainty and in the process of reimagining the way we operate and spaces we occupy, the circumstances of needing to operate differently are nowhere near ideal. As I reflect on CoCEAL's mission to influence, challenge, and lead higher education, and also as I draw from our vision for educational equity for Latinx communities to liberate ourselves, I see an opportunity to challenge the status quo in higher education that historically comes from oppressive practices. Practices such as sacrificing personal time and well-being towards constantly producing labor, regardless of the circumstances, and having to live up to these expectations to justify our worth. This past month, the CoCEAL leadership team met virtually for our annual summer retreat. And in the spirit of communication and sharing upcoming efforts, the following theme, direction, and goals that were guided by feedback collected from previous membership meetings were identified for this upcoming year. So the theme direction that we talked about, so given the current state of living during a global pandemic, we have an emphasis on keeping up with developments as new information comes to fruition with the focus on a couple items. One, processing and learning different ways of knowing to operate purposefully in the spaces we occupy, as well as evaluating work practices and expectations to begin or continue a process of liberation from systems of oppression as we transition into adapting these practices of doing our jobs differently. So a few of the goals that were identified. So to capitalize on the ability of virtual spaces can provide individuals access to professional development as well as a community, and which we know that often the inability to attend in-person membership meetings can stop from exposing members to these experiences. So how we plan on doing that? So two of the pieces that we're like to implement or continue implementing would be to invite guest speakers or facilitators to do activities within our membership meetings that we'll be hosting throughout the academic year, as well as the implementation of CoCEAL Charlas. So we started doing these virtual spaces in around April when we move into a more virtual platform, and really looking at leveraging that, if you will, to be able to create more spaces for comunidad and professional development. So shameless plug-in, we are looking for folks to both facilitate either a topic that has already been identified or a topic of you are interested to share. So please make sure you do keep a lookout on Noticias and through our social media platforms to learn more about CoCEAL Charlas and how those will work. So a couple other things that we also identified as goals is to increase outreach and partnerships for collaborations. We felt that definitely this whole pandemic, a lot of different organizations are combining efforts, and we don't see no different than to be able to collaborate with others and utilize the platform or virtual platform to really engage memberships and learn from one another. And the last one is to create internal organization structures to set up a strong foundation as we continue to grow. So with our 501c3 status, which is super exciting, there's also a need for us to either adapt a content management software where we can start storing information and have an ability to easily share that information as new leadership comes from year after year. And with that, there's also some revisions to the bylaws that we need to do. So we'll be looking at revising those as well. So I do have a couple more pieces that I wrote, so I'd like to finish that. So as many of us engage in the work of reimagining or redesigning practices, the ability to be purposeful in these spaces can be influenced through an equity lens to help aid ways to dismantle oppressive systems as part of our journeys towards the liberation of ourselves. So with that, additionally, given our fastly revolving changes of living through a global pandemic, these upcoming year memberships meetings are all intended to be hosted virtually with the goal of making a decision to reinstate in-person meetings through the guidance of the membership, as well as the state of Colorado and the Center for Disease Control Health Regulations updates. I do like to also take this opportunity to ask folks to save the day for our upcoming fall virtual membership meeting that will take place on Friday, November 6, 2020. And it is my hope each of you can attend and engage alongside with our members of our new steering committee. So with that, I do have a couple announcements that I'd like to share and some shout outs as well. Starting with both our outgoing exec members, Dora Frias and Evelyn Guzman. Truly appreciate all your leadership and the things that you have done for this organization. I definitely have learned a lot from the both of you, and I want to publicly thank you for your service and friendship, really, this past time that we have been serving together. I also like to extend a warm welcome to some of our new exec and steering committee members. So Jessica Solis, Melanie Rocha, Daisy Spino, Daniel Pacheco. We are excited. I'm excited that you are joining and are going to be part of our leadership team, and happy that we are still able to really get to know you more and get to know one another more, which is something that I'm excited to continue on top of the work that we'll be doing together. And absolutely to our returning exec members, y'all are the reason why a lot of the work that we do actually happens. And again, I just want to publicly thank you for the work that you have done. And thank you for being in this journey together. Yeah, so a couple of things that we are going to be doing is to, again, sign up for the CoCEAL charlas. I do also want to thank the folks who were able to provide some feedback for our summer virtual membership meeting, and that you were able to provide a address. So you should be seeing your CoCEAL stickers and some other pieces, like a small gift and token appreciation that will be coming through the mail. I really value the feedback from the membership, especially in these times, to help us guide our thought process as we continue to move forward. So thank you so much for that. And yeah, stay posted for our fall membership meeting registration via Noticias. There's also some information coming out around membership renewals information. So again, either to social media or Noticias would be a great place to get information around that. So, you know, as far as closing, I do want to acknowledge the fact that many of us either have been working or are back working into getting geared up for a new academic year. And I know that can feel full of uncertainty as we move forward. So really just want to send you all some positive vibes and a reminder to prioritize your well-being, because that is going to be really important. So yes, and in the words of Cesar Chavez, si se puede. And I am looking forward to continuing to engage in community with you also. Muchísimas gracias and hasta la próxima.